Good morning. This is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. This is Tristan. He's a Corgi, and we're here for an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we really are talking about conversations with a Corgi because there's a new book out by a pretty famous neurosurgeon named Sanjay Gupta, and he talks about how to maintain brain health when you're aging. And one of the things he talks about is maintaining good health for your heart is also good health for your brain. So that would include things like diet, exercise, having people in your life that you share things with, feeling empathy and compassion for others. All of those things are good for your brain. Anything that you do that stimulates the chemicals in your brain is good. And of course, if you don't know by now, one of the best things you can do as you're aging for your brain, and this is true for our dogs as well, is to experience change. So of course, my mom and my sister are in this upheaval of moving to a new area and just doing everything different. So that's very good for your brain health, but a little too much for some people. I have a piano. One of my plans as I age is to teach myself to play it. If you don't read music, just teaching yourself to read music is really enriching for your brain. Or learning a new language, or taking up a hobby like looking at the stars and identifying them. Things like that, things that you've never done. Those are the things that help enrich your brain by growing new neural connections between different parts of your brain. And then if something does happen, you still have lots of spare connections available to take up jobs that they might not have been typically doing. So another one of the things that Sanjay Gupta talks about is taking a walk with a friend and using that time to unleash your burdens about, no pun intended, about things that are going on in your life and have somebody listen. Well, who are the best listeners in the world? Our dogs and our other pets, but dogs in particular. And we do know that when you and your dog look at each other, you're releasing some of the many good hormones in your brain, the feel-good hormone of oxytocin and serotonin. And so you have this connection with your dog, and the more that you engage with them, looking at them, the more those chemicals are released for both of you. So that's good for your dog as well. So in terms of maintaining brain health as you age, taking a walk with your dog, of course we all love that, and these are parts of the reasons why, because it's so enriching for you and the dog in terms of the exercise for your heart. A brisk walk is even better if you can have rounds of fast walking and then normal paced walking or walking up a hill. This is good for both you and your dog. And then to the end of trying to make a connection with another being, Sanjay Gupta and of course many people in the medical field will say you have to have that connection with a person. But I don't think that's necessarily true. People who have pets live longer than people without pets. People who have pets in their life have a higher survival rate after a heart attack than people without pets. There's plenty of evidence that pets can give you that connection you need in the world, and especially now with COVID. England's going into another lockdown. California's got lockdowns all over the place, and any of us could experience that again. And we're still pretty isolated even without the lockdown. We're not working out in the world. We're limiting our shopping trips. We're not idly wandering around the stores as we might have used to. We're not getting together with people. We're not going out for dinner. So you need that connection. So what better thing to do than to take a walk with your pet and then literally, because you're alone, talk to your pet about your problems. They are great listeners, and one of the things I know from my other work is that what people really want when they're talking to you and saying, God, I really got this problem, they don't want a solution. They want you to say things like, that sounds really hard, and do you want my help? Because sometimes they'll say, no, I've got it. And then saying that, they realize that they have more control in the situation than they thought. And our dogs, of course, are not going to interrupt us and say, hey, I know what you need to do. but they'll look at us in a way that will make us figure it out. So unburdening yourself to your dog is a really great thing. And doing it when you're walking is even better, because during that walking process, you might be so lucky as to have taught yourself how to be in heart coherence with your dog when you're walking, where there's a synchrony between his heart rate and your heart rate, your cranial rhythm and his cranial rhythm. Maybe he takes one step, or 2 steps to your 1 step, or 4 steps to your 1 step, but there's usually some kind of balance there if your dog and you are not dragging each other down the street. And so that harmony translates into an ability to communicate already. So what I've been doing for maybe 2 weeks now is when I walk Tristan when we're alone, I say, what's going on with you? What are your problems? And I imagine what his problems might be. You know, mom's a little stingy with the treats. We're not getting the kind that we want. We want more time to play with the baby wiener. He likes the baby wiener a lot because he plays tag really well. Or, you know, maybe he likes the massages I give him and wants more. Any kinds of things that I see that's going on in his life that day that might have been frustrating. And one of the things that comes up for him often, he's getting older, and dogs love to smell. And it's been cold here. You can see there's still snow in the backyard. So when I'm walking him and he wants to stop and smell, I know this is not the best thing for his choice. So I try to listen to him and say, all right, we have certain smell spots. Today I'll let you add 4 more to the usual spots, but please don't smell for more than 30 seconds or 1 minute or whatever, because I get too cold standing here. So I listen to his problems, and then I'm like, so what do I want to talk to you about? And by the time I figured out what his issues are and listened to him, I honestly don't have too much left to say, because my life is going all right. There are a few kind of long-term things that are frustrating, but you know, there's not much I can do differently other than spend time with my dog. So, but it's like that whole thing, remember from Seinfeld, the fake holiday, Festivus, which some people actually celebrate now as a real holiday. One of the things was the airing of grievances about your family for the year. So, you know, airing your grievances of the day, like, you know, the stupid person at the bank that couldn't help you, and, you know, or whatever. You know, your dog might help you understand that they're having a hard day, and that's why they weren't so helpful to you. So being able to discuss things with your pet while you're walking is really, really helpful for your brain and his brain, or her brain. And then also changing your walk, changing where you go, walk on a different side of the street, walk backwards if you go around the block, go in a different direction, go to new venues, because this is good for both of your brains. You've got new things to explore. It's teaching you new things. That's a great thing about our pets. They give us lots of opportunities to do new stuff. You can, you know, maybe go for a walk with new people that you don't know. During COVID, you know, just going to a place to walk your dog where people might be is kind of stressful. But, you know, around me, there's plenty of wide open spaces. So instead of walking on the trail, I might walk at the base of the hill below the trail with my dog, because there's no ticks right now, mostly. They don't freeze as much as people think they do. So I'm fine walking with him not on the trail. And that gives us a whole different way to explore things, a whole different bunch of things to look at. Being a short guy, he does like to be on top of the hills where we are so that he can get a view that's not usually accessible to his short self. So think about walking with your dog and discussing things with your dog and figuring out what your dog might like to tell you about how his life is going. You know, Tristan really enjoys this baby dachshund, so maybe we should start talking about a little baby Corgi one day. Not yet, right? It's too cold to be outside at night with a little dog for me. But taking a walk with your dog, and it's good for your mental health, your physical health, your cardiac health, and it's also good for your brain function. So enjoy the time that you get to have with your pets. A lot of people are home from work more than usual. They actually have their pet with them to take on a lunch break walk or maybe an afternoon break walk. And even if your breaks are only 15 minutes away from your Zooms, you can still take a quick walk with your dog. One of my friends, she's been walking her dog with me sometimes, because we walk our dogs multiple times a day. And sometimes she's on a Zoom meeting on the phone while we're walking with the dogs. And you can't do this when you're at work in a facility. So being able to spend time with your dog is a luxury we're all enjoying right now. And frankly, I think a lot of people don't want to change that. So take care of your pets and take care of your own brain by taking a friendship walk with your dog, Biscuit. And the weather here is so good. We're really enjoying this. So everybody have a good day, and we will be back. We're at our educator job tomorrow. We might be back Thursday or Friday. It depends on how things are going. I do have a client early Thursday morning, and I have a potential new dog coming in. I'm not sure what day that'll be or when, but anyway, we'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a great day, and have a nice time with your pets when you walk today. Thanks for joining us.